And I was gonna take the high road and just say thank you and leave.
Don't take the high road, Paul.
But I have something to say to you! I've waited a long time to say this! I almost forgot about you!
Or I'll do things differently. I make my own rules because it's much easier that way. You made a mistake by turning your back on me because I don't play no game.
One more time for old time's sake! Right there so the whole world can see us!
And would you look at that? Another week has flown by, and it is time for another edition of Oh No Wrestling. My name is Owen, and on the phone with me, all the way from beautiful Denver, Colorado, is my friend Duncan. How you doing, buddy?
You know what I gotta say? I am too sweet, my friend.
Too sweet, indeed, indeed. It sounds like you might have got in a little bit of a fight today yourself.
Man, you should see the other guy.
I think what we're referring to is you probably feel like you got in a fight.
Man, yeah.
Without
I'm a little
actually
bit whooped.
throwing down.
No, but for a little while there, I did look like I had gotten punched in the mouth by Brock Lesnar.
So you got some dental work done today. You got some. I know you were on the Novocaine, so it must have been pretty serious.
Yeah, man, deep cleanings. So half of my face today, half of it tomorrow.
Ooh, you're committing to this.
Well, I mean, it's, got a wetting to fucking smile for.
Yeah, man.
But, and it's also like, if you got to do something unpleasant, I just, get it done.
Yeah, get it over with.
Well,
Don't spread it like 3 weeks apart. If you got to do it, get it
fuck
done.
off. No, just do it back to back, whatever.
It's like Finn Balor's surgery, man. Like, he didn't wait around. He was like, no, next day I'm getting that thing worked on so that I can get back in the ring.
Seriously. How do you feel about that 6-month prognosis? Do you think he's got a little bit of Super Cena healing powers?
I want to actually see him take longer. I want to see him, not longer, but I want to see him get it done right. So I don't want Super Cena out of him.
Not rush it.
I don't think that he is the physical specimen that John Cena is. I think he. I don't think he's on that level of Super Cena yet. Like, he might still have that in him in his career, in his lifetime. But I don't really think it's fair for him to be expected to be on that level. And I
don't think it's fair for anybody to be on that level, including John Cena.
Including John Cena, exactly. That being said, though, yeah, I just want to see him heal right. Make sure he doesn't rush it, because I think when somebody was basically blasted to the moon with his push, I think the tendency is that I got to get back as soon as possible, right?
Worrying about that your spot's not going to be there anymore. I don't think he needs to worry about that. I do not think that his spot is going anywhere.
No, I think he's going to come back. He's going to become the second ever, first ever two-time Universal Champion. And
I can see that.
and move from there. Anyway, we talked about Finn enough last week because it was so, heartbreaking.
Important, yeah.
But since we've done a full episode of Oh No Wrestling, my car went and broke down, Duncan.
I know. By broke down, you hit it with sweet chin music, and you fucking just
more or less. You can get all the full details of that actually on tomorrow's Ono radio show. Trust me, I'll be going into a lot of detail about the second half of my car situation, but I can let you know that I did get a new car, Duncan.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And let me tell you something, buddy. You deserve it.
Oh, thanks, man. I've been driving around what I like to call the
You've been
battle
driving
hatch,
a shitbox for
shit
as long
box.
as I've known you.
Yeah. So this is like one of the first cars that's nice that I've ever really had. I had one other, but let's not talk about that one. This one, though, is the nicest for sure. And it happens to be a Japanese car. It's the first car I've actually owned that's a Japanese car. And it just so happened I bought it this past Sunday. Well, if you haven't heard, guys, sadly, the legend, Mr. Fuji, died while Hall of Famer, while I was buying my car. Now I'm buying a Japanese white car.
As white as the salt that he would throw in the faces of his opponents.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Even though I guess he could be referred to as sort of a yellow man. Like the Asians, they're more.
Don't be racist.
I'm not being racist. They're just, they're not like pure as white as the white snow, right? Like
they're a little bit. They're more like caramel.
Caramel. That's a good way to put them. But either way, he had the salt that he blew in people's faces, and yeah. So no, because of me buying that car last Sunday, I felt it was necessary for me to name it Mr. Fuji.
And I could not agree more. And then what I think is even better is that not only do you have a white Japanese car, but your lovely wife also has a white Japanese car.
Yes.
And I think that when the two of them are parked next to each other, they're the Orient Express.
Oh, my God. That is probably the greatest thing that I've ever heard. I do like it.
Well, you can have it. I'll give it to you.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna run with it. I will say that we wanted to structure this episode of Ono Wrestling a little bit differently. Don't worry, we're still gonna do some recap, but we've been accused of being all recap and nothing else. And I figured, no, we're gonna
and
relate.
That's boring for all of us.
Yeah, we can do that all day long. So this week, I do think I want to talk a little bit about sort of some wrestling news with some ideas I've had, and see how you feel about that before we really get into some of the other shit we want to talk about with our recaps and all the other stuff. Are you down with that, Duncan?
Yeah, fair enough, man. Let's see what sticks.
Yeah, no. See, here's one thing that I think has been buzzing around the internet that we need to really start off with, because as much as it's not super captivating news, it's sort of important. And I want to talk a little bit about Alberto Del Rio being done with the WWE.
Del Rio.
Yes. Now here's the deal. Del Rio was okay in the ring. He was good enough. He had some great matches over his time. He was better than okay.
He was so much. Yeah, he's had better years, and man, I don't know. This last year I was super excited when we saw him debut last year.
To come back, yeah.
Yeah, and we're like, what? Alberto Del Rio's back. And you're like, I don't know who that is. I'm like, Alberto Del Rio's awesome. And you went back and you looked into it and you're like, yeah, all right, I'm into it.
Exactly.
But after what was it, about 3 weeks? It was like, Alberto.
You're boring again.
Yeah.
I like him. I like him in the ring a lot of times, but I think he's never had a direction in the WWE. And I also think that I just get the vibe that maybe he was such a big star in Mexico that he thought he was top dog, and he should be treated
that big of a star. He was a lot bigger of a star the last time he was in the WWE.
Yeah, but even before the incident, I think that he went through where he kind of rightfully so punched that crew guy in the face.
That backstage worker, yeah.
Yeah, for a racist remark.
Well, it was somebody in catering. Like, it was one of their social media people.
Yeah, he made some janitor joke at him, right?
Yeah, he made some joke about Del Rio cleaning up his plate or something like that, like some sort of Mexican crack, and Del Rio slapped him in the fucking mouth, as he should have.
At the same time, though, I think Del Rio, he wouldn't have done that had he been top dog actually in the company at that moment. He wouldn't have done it if he wasn't unhappy already with his situation. And I think that plays into what has gone on with him, with his wellness policy violation, along with Paige, who he's probably sort of, I'm not going to say brainwashed, but had influence over, into sort
definitely.
of making, I think they went on a cocaine binge and they intentionally fucked up with their wellness policy so that they would both get fired and be released from their contracts.
Except Paige has not been released from her contract.
And that's where it's WWE fucking with them right now, because they expected it to be at the same time. Like, but no, they want to hold on. They're just going to, they're going to make one of them pay.
Nah, I mean, yeah, but I don't necessarily agree with that, just because, like, the tests are random. You know what I mean? Like, unless they were just like, well, we'll just keep fucking off until we eventually drop dirty, but there's no guarantee that they're both going to drop at the same time.
I mean, there can be.
I just think
there was something that maybe they were, maybe there was like they were refusing to do certain. I don't know. Maybe they just refused at the same time. There was something that seems like it went on, and I do think it could be, to do with their relationship. But who knows? It's all speculation. I'm just throwing it out there.
100% speculation. I think that, like, the biggest thing, like, I'm sure that they were both running their mouths. They weren't doing it publicly, but I'm sure that they were both running their mouths privately. Like, and let's be honest, everybody has been talking about how mismanaged Alberto Del Rio has been in this last run. Like, started off real strong. And that's on his re-debut.
And that's actually, see, I came up with guys that needed, I came up with 3 guys that needed gimmick changes that are gone, have just gone, or maybe gone soon, okay? And all 3 guys that needed probably some sort of gimmick change to make them work, to make them stay and be successful in the WWE. And Alberto Del Rio is one, okay? I think he is.
All right.
I think had he had a true rebirth as a new character, he could have been amazingly successful. And hear me out.
I think if he hadn't have been squandered with the goddamn Zeb Coulter Mex-American thing for the first month,
that was
they needed to bring him back as Mexico's greatest export, as being the, you know what I mean, like the super cocky, super rich, Mexican aristocrat.
And that's kind of where I'm going with this too. But I say that you throw a little bit of a twist in there, and that you put a bit of a dark side to him. So he's almost feels like a bit more of a drug lord. Okay. He's got like this corrupt. No, you can't do the drug, but you can do like a corrupt politician, perhaps, right? You can do something with that archetype, and then what can make him really, really evil and I think sneaky, but also powerful, is that you have him have some henchmen. You're not where he's a part of a group like the League of Nations, but if he has some fucking henchmen and he's got like his own cartel, like you throw Sin Cara and you throw Kalisto and you throw them all into a cartel. With Del Rio with the helm.
Then they're the LWO and they're fucking riding lawnmowers to the ring.
No. But you do it classy. You do it classy.
The problem with that, but the problem with all that is that you can't take away everything that his character was just to make that happen. his character is too reality based. Like, you would have had to have done that from the very beginning.
Yeah,
There's
no,
no
you're
way to
absolutely
repackage
right.
him as that.
I understand that. I do understand your logic. I just feel like he always looked like that guy from that show Weeds. To me, he looked like the Mexican, evil.
You think
evil
all
businessman.
Mexicans look like the guy from Weeds?
Oh, that's true. That's true. But no, so you don't like my Alberto Del Rio idea. That's fine. That's fine.
I don't dislike it. I just don't like it I don't like it.
You don't think it's practical.
Right. I don't think it's practical. And I mean, again, I think it's practical for the very first debut of Alberto Del Rio. But dude, the first debut of Alberto Del Rio, he had his own personal ring announcer that was his
And
lackey.
I liked that guy. Like, that's what they should have done when they brought him back, is they should have had that thing again.
And I agree with that.
So yeah.
Like, they should have done that, but yeah.
They had that and they blew it.
And you can't do, it's hard to do like cartel borderline stuff in PG era WWE. Unfortunately,
it is.
You know what I mean?
It is. I mean, they still get away with a fair bit. So I don't know. I feel like everything can be done. I just think it's a little. You have to just do it a little bit differently. And I definitely know that can change the whole gimmick if you do it differently. So some work and some don't, I guess, is probably the best way to put it.
Right.
Now,
I think, honestly, Del Rio just wanted to get that paycheck for a year.
Yeah.
And then go back to doing whatever.
Get the publicity and then go wrestle wherever he probably wants to for a while. Like,
right.
He would be one that has he ever done TNA? He's never done TNA.
They're very interested in him, but
I wouldn't be surprised if he did that.
I mean, it wouldn't necessarily surprise me either, just because Paige could also go there very easily.
Very easily, exactly, and the both of them can kind of like be a weird thing there too.
Yeah.
You know,
for the next year that TNA's in business.
Yeah, well, who knows? They got that Billy
for
Corgan
5
now.
years,
They got that Billy Corgan backing. So Dixie, and it
Yeah.
sounds like Dixie's on the way out. So we don't know. I mean, there could be some changes. I mean, not that TNA is ever going to be watchable, but at least more guys that are decent wrestlers get to work. I guess I guess that's fair.
I think that's the best way to look at it.
Okay. So we agree then mutually that my idea is ridiculous for Del Rio, but it's whatever. Let me ask you how ridiculous this next one is. Because just recently, our buddy, who we believe in, got in some recent trouble.
Oh, man, yeah.
Fucking A, man. Bo Dallas was arrested and ejected from a flight. And I think he was charged with public intoxication.
He was charged with public intoxication, a flight from either Dallas or Houston to Mexico, and he was belligerent and told the pilot and the flight crew to fuck off.
And then apparently called Seth Rollins some names, didn't he?
Yeah, he called him a dick.
He called him a dick. So Bo Dallas did that. Now, I feel like Bo might somehow get away with this just because he's a rotunda. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. He very well could. He very well could.
And if they play their cards right, because there's something about Bo that is very, very usable, just like there was with Bray. Just like, I mean, as much as we can make fun of Mike Rotunda IRS, he was still good for his day. It just happened that his gimmick was a gimmick that wouldn't happen today. Either way, his son Bray, of course, is probably got the most interesting gimmick in WWE, or one of, right?
Definitely.
Of a new age twist on a gimmick.
A new school gimmick, yeah.
Exactly. So I feel, and we've talked about this before, and everybody sort of mentioned it, that in real life we've got Bray and Bo being brothers. They're both
Brothers.
rotundas. And why not? This is the perfect opportunity to take Bo off of TV for a while. Get him out of the scene. Have him grow a big fucking beard as much as Bo can grow a beard. Train the fuck out of him down at the Performance Center. Whip him into shape. And if he's still good to go with a badass beard at the end of his punishment, and he can play a disciple of a Wyatt, then he's got a job.
I completely agree. And dude, the funny thing is, it's not like Bo can't work. He was an NXT champion. You know, he just, once again, Bo Lee worked it. Full Sail does not work for a lot of people on the main roster.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't work for the main roster. I think we're seeing this, unfortunately, with the Vaudevillains right now a bit too.
I was just gonna say Vaudevillains, the exact same way.
And it sucks, man, because they are from a bygone era, and unfortunately, a lot of people don't even get that.
Right. They don't get that they're taking the piss out of it. Like, it's not supposed to be taken seriously.
Yeah, it sucks, man, because I like both the guys. I like the idea of the gimmick. I like all the throwback references. I don't like it when Adian English sings, to be honest with you. I mean, I get it, but it's
right.
It's so cringy that I think that's why they need to tone down the cringe factor for them to work. They just need to be really mean, like old school guys for a while, like, and that they need to undersell the gimmick a little bit, which is weird. Tone it down.
Yeah, I agree. It needs to be more toned down. That's the thing, dude, is like there are some gimmicks that work on the smaller scale, at Full Sail, at the NXT shows that we enjoy as well. And then when it gets to the big scale, you're like, oh man, it doesn't work.
It doesn't. Now, the other piece of news that came out today, Duncan, was all came from our good buddy, the big guy, the old big guy, who really likes eating. Really, really likes eating. And he started his own podcast.
I heard about that.
So good old Ryback started his own podcast.
Oh, Ryback.
And the most interesting thing about it was in his podcast, he was told by Vince that he was going to squash AJ Styles at WrestleMania 32.
Yeah, I read that, and I was like, huh, yeah?
And in Vince's words, squash that little twerp.
Squash that little twerp.
Which is so funny, because that's everything that we've ever heard and thought about Vince McMahon, is that, oh, he's a TNA guy, get him, just, oh yeah, we're gonna hire him, and then we're gonna bury him.
We're gonna bury him.
And man, how a year makes so much difference, I guess. That now we're thinking about, AJ's going to have that belt on him. I mean, well, it still remains to be seen. So we can't necessarily even, like, you don't know how long Vince holds these grudges. You don't know how long Vince holds these grudges. He hasn't. You don't know if he's gotten over it yet. He might be playing. He might be playing like he's gotten over it. But he
definitely has not.
Either way, Ryback,
Who knows? I mean, AJ's making him a lot of money. I mean, I bought myself a Phenomenal One shirt, so I can't say that it's not, working to Vince's benefit.
That's fair. So Vince does look at numbers, and he can see that AJ's profitable, so maybe there's some hope left. But I'll say this. I have a way to save Ryback, too, because Ryback was very, very not happy with the direction of his character. That was one of the other things that came out of his podcast.
No shit.
And
the money that he was making.
Now, he's claiming it was less about the money and all this, but there is some undertone to that, of course.
Right.
I say, though, that for Ryback to be successful, They wanted to turn him heel so many times, right? But they just couldn't quite.
Well, they made him bully Ryback.
They couldn't make him cool heel, though. They wanted to make him sort of cool heel, but he never was. It wasn't working, right?
Correct.
So I got a crazy one for you here.
Bring it on.
Take him off TV for a while. Make him grow a beard. Train his ass up in the performance center. And come back as a disciple of the Wyatts.
God damn it, Owen.
Wouldn't that be awesome? Well, he could have been Braun Strowman. He could have been like a Braun Strowman type.
And
right?
he would have been better in that role for the Wyatts.
Correct, than Braun Strowman. And also, it gives something for Ryback to do overnight. Now you've got Harper in the mix, because you can also bring back those guys. But now you've added Bo Dallas and Ryback to the Wyatts. It sounds crazy as fuck, but I'm telling you, it would work. It would be weird.
No, it would make them. Like Bo wouldn't make them dominant, but like if you had Luke Harper back and you had, Bo and Ryback with Bray.
Okay, yeah, and then hear me out. One more thing. I was thinking about this too. Bray barely ever wrestles, but instead of when Bray wrestling, one of the other guys interfering like it always is for Bray to win a match. Instead of that, it's Bray that interferes in those guys' matches to help those guys win. And I know it's a little backward psychology to the leader-follower dynamic, but that's what the good leader will do. He will help you to victory. And I think there's a way that you can sell that Bray is so sneaky that he's the one that's always making sure that Bo wins and Ryback wins and his other guys win.
I mean, I love that in the sense that it provides also long-term storytelling, which is something we just fucking don't get anymore.
So I know my ideas are crazy, but if you wanted to do the Wyatts right, you put Ryback and Bo Dallas on there.
You put Ryback and Bo Dallas in there.
So
it's not the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Do you want to hear the other 3 quick things I have for news? And then we can go into the recap.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Recap.
All right. So we got Daniel Bryan responding to The Miz on what is it? Talking Smack.
Talking Smack.
Now that was interesting. Smacking Talks. Which it almost was, of course, the week before with The Miz and Daniel Bryan.
Man, that was so intense. Like you could see the tears welling up in Miz's eyes. Like I fucking loved it.
Now, I think this was supposed to be kind of a silly work thing that got like blown out of proportion. Like Daniel Bryan, I think actually did kind of put his foot in his mouth. And I think he did too. And I think The Miz was just like, you know what? This is just on the WWE network. This isn't on cable TV. I've got the chance to really blow off some steam right now. I'm going to do it because that pissed me off. And I think he had every sort of right to. I think it was perfect for his character, obviously. But now I think you're seeing Daniel Bryan taking a little bit of a back step. And the WWE saying, "Oh yeah, Daniel, you did kind of fuck up there a little bit,
I don't know.
I know we're trying to push the limits of what all this means and is, and like the exception of talking about the indies and like things like that, like breaking down those walls,
acknowledging that wrestling exists outside of the WWE,
which is huge, and then to say that a WWE style is soft, it's like, well, thanks for putting down your product, like you can't. I understand, of course, what Daniel Bryan is saying, but those are dangerous waters you start trading as any company. Like you can only say that shit so much.
Well, exactly. And I mean, and especially for him, like somebody in his position as well,
and like we kind of said,
it's just funny. Like, he and Bree were on TV together, not necessarily like together, but, they were on the same show. And then like, Daniel retires. Then very shortly later, Bree retires.
Mm-hmm.
And now Daniel Bryan's back. So it's like, well, wait.
Do you want Bree back? Is that what you want?
No, not at all. But it just seems weird to me. Like I guess if anything, I'm validating Miz's point.
Oh, absolutely. And the whole thing of the Miz saying if you wanted to still wrestle, you'd leave the WWE and you'd go wrestle in your bingo halls or whatever. And the Miz did respond on this week's
Daniel Bryan responded.
Daniel Bryan responded in saying that the Miz was actually right. And he apologized. If I had the guts, I would quit and go to the indies.
I mean, and that takes guts, even if he doesn't mean it, but I think he does.
And I think it was almost a little bit of a slappy slap by the WWE too. I think it was a
say, hey, you're going to go out there and you're going to say this, and you're going to like it.
Yeah, no, I think there's some truth to that. In other news, Rob Van Dam did recently return down a WWE return. Sounded like it was supposed to be at was it last WrestleMania?
I think maybe before
no, it was
that.
before that. It was where Tommy Dreamer came out and
with the Dudleys.
With the Dudleys. So that's over.
And Rhino. Yeah.
So it was that whole thing, which was what? I don't even remember what event that was. I'm a terrible wrestling fan.
It was around SummerSlam, or just after SummerSlam. So what would that have been? Survivor Series? Survivor Series. That's what it was. It was Survivor Series.
Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. But yeah, I guess that was supposed to be kind of like led by Rob Van Dam or something, and maybe according to him, who knows? But
right.
I guess the money, they were also just not willing to pay Rob Van Dam well enough for a return.
Well, and maybe Rob Van Dam doesn't want to have to fucking not smoke his reefer and deal with the wellness policy.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair on Rob Van Dam. He's just like, no, guys, I know how this works. You fucked me that one time.
Yeah, you're gonna fuck me again.
I mean, I know me and Sabu were doing some other nefarious things, but you did fuck me for that one thing.
Well, yeah, but in fairness, he had just won the goddamn title.
Yeah. Which leads me to believe they would have kind of saved him if he could, if they could.
Yeah.
I don't know. Last piece of the news, Duncan.
Big news here. This is
big news. Big news.
Dude, I wanted to leave the show with this. I wanted to be no, we're not talking about anything else but this.
Ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God. Eva Marie has dyed her hair black.
All black.
All black everything. What are they going to do? Just make her the new Paige? Is that what they're going to do?
They're literally bringing her back as Paige.
They're bringing her back
call
as
her Paige.
That would be.
Dude, they're recasting fucking Becky from Roseanne. This is exactly what they're doing.
It's going to be so amazing when it happens. It's like,
she's going to go and be like, this is my house.
What am I doing again?
Seriously. I mean, I guess. I don't know. Fucking whatever. I don't care, question mark?
I don't really either. Have you heard any other good wrestling facts throughout this week?
Wrestling facts?
Not facts, but just pieces of news that I haven't mentioned.
Any sort of tidbits of information. Man, there's not a whole lot other than I just I got just over a month until Monday Night Raw out here and SmackDown.
Doing both.
That's
a commitment these days now. I mean, well, I guess it always was, but yeah, you got the back-to-back, same arena. Good.
Same arena, so it'll be. I mean, it is 2 miles from the house, so that's not a big deal.
Very cool.
And that shit is convenient, dude. going to a wrestling show when you don't have to, like when you're not very far from the venue and you can just walk there or take a cheap Uber or something. Like, man, that shit is fun. Like, that shit, it beats the hell out of having to drive to a parking garage, park, or find parking somewhere else that you're not going to get booted or towed. Fuck, dude.
Yeah, I mean, the problem where I'm downtown, but I'm that downtown that pays sort of
No, you're the
money.
opposite side of downtown.
Yeah, well, no, here's the deal. I got a good, price where I live, but people around this area pay a premium to but they still have to drive to downtown. Like, it's the worst of both worlds because you don't quite have the ability to walk there, but you still have to pay more to live around here. And it's all just because our jobs or whatever. But I will tell you this. I've got a couple leads on some NXT tickets that might be happening soon, so I'm kind of excited about that again. And it also sounds like I'm going to. Well, I know I am. It's just we've got to decide the date because we're looking at these championships here. We're going to be going to the Dinner Wrestling Theater off of iDrive here pretty soon. So which
is pretty awesome.
That's going to be
I'm slightly jealous that I'm not going to be able to be a part of that.
So take that, your Raw and Smackdown. I got NXT and I got Dinner Wrestling Theater. So
yep, I know. It's all good.
Hey, man.
Need to make this a competition.
We'll see what happens at
I've
Mania.
already got the belt.
Oh, God damn it. Hey, dude, do you want to just take a quick break and then we'll come back and do recap?
Sure.
Would that be okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I gotta pee, and I'm just gonna take just a little second to deal with. I got. It's been raining all day, and because we got a tropical storm.
Leaking?
And yeah, we got a tropical storm, so my studio's leaking a little bit, and I need to kind of replace a bucket.
All right, do your thing.
All right. Hey, sorry about that. I think I got the studio
all good.
situated.
No, don't worry.
I'm like, okay, I do kind of need to pee. And then I look over and I'm like, that's why I need to pee. I've got this drippy thing in the studio sitting next to me. All right. So anyway, I guess we'll hop right into some recaps of the week. I think that's fine to do, right?
Yeah. We don't have to, as we say, we don't have to recap everything. We'll just go through, and if we do, we just bust through it. You know
I mean, I think we definitely need to talk about some of the highlights of this week. And obviously, we did a special show on Monday night after the crowning of a new Universal Champion.
Right.
So I don't think that we covered.
We can refer people to that.
Well, exactly. We did a little bit of a recap of the main events, on that. But I will say that there are definite things that we left out of our initial feelings from that evening, and that's go ahead and just talk about a little bit real quick that final 4-way. That was an elimination match. I was told later that they were referring to it as an elimination match all night. I'm sorry, I didn't pick up on that, I guess. I definitely don't think they did on the week prior. That was not.
I don't think they did either.
I don't think that was a stipulation. I think that kind of came out of the blue. But either way, I thought it was interesting in that whole match that, of course, it was only really Reigns and Big Cass that didn't get a pin. That the two people that got pins were, of course, Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. Now I think that does that not at least quell the WWE Universe's fans' fears of Reigns being pushed to the top of the mountain again super quick? Doesn't at least relieve us? That's what I've come away with from the whole thing. Since thinking about it when it happened, got a couple of days, and now it feels just okay, no, they know that he needs to be kept down a little bit. It's not the right time.
I mean, I think so. I think that kind of showed that they are in tune with that as well.
I think you have to acknowledge that. Also, of course, on Raw, we had a really, really nice Mr. Fuji video package, as they're always doing. I like seeing them do that stuff. WWE have said it before, as far as video packages go, they're better than the Oscars, man. Like they'll make you cry. Like some of these things, it's like, I didn't even care about that person, but now I do.
Right?
I gotta say, because I grew up with The Undertaker and all that stuff. Like when Paul Bearer died, that video package. God, I just forgot his real name. But
Percy Pringle.
Percy Pringle. How can you forget it? But that one, like, it really.
Did I ever
really
tell you I
got me.
emailed him?
Did you really? I think
he emailed me back.
What did Percy Pringle say?
I mean, it was literally, I was just like, hey, I'm a big fan. I've been a big fan my whole life. Love the character. Like, some of my favorite childhood memories are watching The Undertaker and Paul Bearer. It was very shortly after I moved to Florida. May have even been before we met. Like, I think it might have been literally one of those, like, I am depressed, so I need something to do and make myself happy. And he wrote me back. And he's like, thanks, I appreciate it. It's like, he's like, you never seen the last of Paul Bearer. We never say never in this business. It was very very nice and professional, and it made my day.
No, it's super cool, man. That's and like I said, like that was just the Mr. Fuji tribute for me was a highlight of the actual Raw, and it wasn't a bad Raw. Of course, we opened, and I think it's telling as well. We opened with that segment with Corey Graves in the ring, and I like how they did that. They had the 4 guys on directors' chairs, sitting around Corey Graves, and they're going to talk about this big match, that's happening this evening. But it was interesting that, of course, Roman was the one to attack someone first, like to actually physically attack someone. And that is also slightly telling as well, because yes, KO was pushing the buttons, and so was Seth, but I guess they all were. They're professional wrestlers. But if anybody, you can say, like, threw the first punch, it was literally Roman.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now can we, like, is that a sign of us seeing that Roman that we were all like, yeah, he can be okay. It's just a big bully kind of like enforcer guy, what he kind of should be. Like, is that what we're like, and go a little bit more heel turn?
I mean, maybe, but like honestly, I feel like they're so afraid to take their meal ticket. Even though, like, dude, if they turn the Roman heel, fans like us would buy Roman shit.
Do you think they're going to turn KO sort of face? Do you think they're going to kind of...
Work him tweener? No.
Yeah, work him a little more tweener.
No. I don't think they are, because I don't think that that's going to benefit them or anyone else for that matter.
He can always say he loves his kid, and he can use that stuff. So I always just wonder,
Yeah, but no,
No, definitely not then. Okay, well.
No, definitely not.
It was a good opening.
Because KO is such a good heel. Like, he's what you need in a heel. You know what I mean? Like, he's everything that Seth is not.
Then you've got, the question if AJ wins, having 2 heels as your champions, do you think they'll do that?
I think they have more likelihood of doing that after bringing Triple H back in.
Yeah, where's that going? Because my immediate reaction with the Triple H, obviously the main event, is that It's going to be a Seth Triple H thing.
Oh, I agree. It's going to be a Seth Triple H thing, but here's what I don't want. I don't want it to be like when they gave The Miz the heavyweight championship and then he became, just kind of a background player, like the belt became non-important. I don't want for KO and the championship to just kind of be like props and pawns in the Triple H Seth Rollins, battle.
What's the first big KO feud then?
Everybody.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Everyone.
I mean, KO versus everyone.
And do you find him in any way aligned with Triple H, or is this just to spite Roman and Seth, that he gives no shits? Triple H gives no shits about KO, and it's just to spite those two guys.
I would love it for it to be that. I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be something more annoying than that.
Yeah.
But I would love to see Kevin Owens just be like I don't care how I won, I won.
What if it is the, of course, Jericho feud? Because after that first segment on Raw, there was like a definite thing with Jericho because he was, I think, he fought Neville.
Yes.
Here's the deal. They're still playing like they're friends because Jericho was there to support KO, right? But now it's gonna be. I mean, can they go ahead and say like Jericho was, I'm the one that got KO into this position, that he would have been there without me, and I demand my title shot.
Will say shit like that,
and so you could easily have a good Jericho KO feud. We know that's going to happen at some point, but I don't know that that's as much as I love Jericho right now. Do we want him in a world championship universal main event scene? Yeah, I don't know that we do completely, but maybe he's due one last go, especially because he has been phenomenal with this last run and his latest heel turn, and he's if anybody does sort of deserve one more run with the belt, it would be Jericho. But
true. I mean, and if it's a month-long program, what's it matter?
True. Yeah. Of course. No, that's what was important. I was trying to remember what was important about that Jericho Neville match, and fucking Jericho pulled out a lion tamer. A full.
I love it when he does that.
Lion tamer. It's not often now because he's kind of. The Walls has become the replacement, and it isn't the same.
The Walls is a Boston Crab.
Exactly. It's a slightly more exaggerated Boston Crab. It's a good Boston Crab.
It's Rick the Model Martel's Boston Crab.
Yeah, you might be right about that. I'd have to look at them side by side, but I know you're right about that, so I'm just going to trust you. The lion tamer, though, is of course something a little more special, right?
No, the lion tamer is gnarly. That's the one where he's like stepping back on their head, like really wrenching back.
Yeah,
it's
like the knee. He does it kind of with the knee sometimes, but I've seen him get like the shin up there, and even I think the foot. So good to see like him beat Neville in a clean match. What did you think of the Gallows and Anderson promo where we had the old fart thing now? Old fart.
I giggled. I giggled, but I didn't laugh like I did with the doctors. The first couple of times.
And then both of us were just, I know I was. I'm like, come on, we're throwing Dana Brooke in here with you guys right now.
Oh, yeah. Why are we doing that?
Why are we doing that? Can we not do that? Can we
please not?
She too sweeted him, bro.
Dude, I saw that, and did you notice that both of them were just like,
yeah,
what?
They were not very comfortable with that. I think... Wasn't it one of their wives said something about it? Like, I think it was Gallows' wife.
Gallows' wife. It wasn't Carl Anderson's hot Asian wife.
No, it was not Carl Anderson's hot Asian wife.
It would have been better though. I want to see a tag team of Lady Gallows and fucking Carl Anderson's hot Asian wife.
They should do that just for fun, even if it's not actually Carl Anderson's hot ass Asian wife, because I think Gallows' wife's a wrestler, isn't she? Or was, or
I think so.
I feel like she is.
So.
It's like, why not? That would be amazing. Have the female Bullet Club. I don't know. Nurse Dana Brooke. I didn't like the joke very much. I thought it was very porny, and I think probably just because she looks like a porn star. That's what she looks like. She looks like a porn star. And
not a good one.
No,
but yeah,
no, but like a plastic blow up doll. You know the type. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I do.
Why? Okay. I gotta ask you this. Why are we doing this Heyman, Steph, Brock thing?
Thank you. Because when we were watching it, we were both like, this is amazing. Because it was Paul Heyman.
But only, really, because I think it was Paul Heyman.
I think exactly only because it was Paul Heyman. But then you go back and you look, and it's like, well, what? All right, what was that?
What do we gain from this?
Like,
we gained that Stephanie has admitted that Brock can do whatever he wants, basically. Is that the end goal?
Yes, great. Fucking great.
But she'll still put Heyman in his place, you know? I think that's kind of the end goal.
I mean,
is that the
all
end?
we got out of it was that she might not be able to fire Brock Lesnar, but she can fire Paul Heyman.
And so he needs to tread his watch carefully and tread lightly.
Yeah, but
okay, fine, okay.
Yeah.
I still just feel like, and I know Heyman will disappear for a while now, probably. But
I mean, Heyman's making a lot of money doing a lot of things.
Why? I don't know that it's doing Brock much good, having Heyman go out there and just and do these segments that are they're good for Heyman. They're great for Heyman. And I guess they're good for Brock, but I don't see that they're that good for Brock long term. Like, I think Brock, if I'm not mistaken, I think Brock is slowly... People are getting really tired of the Brock thing.
I mean, I know that I am very tired of the Brock thing.
The Brock thing is impressive. The Brock thing is a monster. The Brock thing is a beast. He's the shark. We all know this.
Right, but who cares anymore? I don't care anymore.
It's old. You're getting Del Rio'd, brah.
Yeah, you're stale.
You're stale. And that's really interesting for us to think that a guy as dominant as that can be stale in a world of the WWE. Like, maybe it isn't all about the big dude that is super dominant. Maybe there is some other aspects of professional wrestling that we like, and now we're more interested in these other pro wrestlers that certainly don't have the physique, such as Brock Lesnar, Kevin Owens.
And you know what? Kevin Owens is the epitome of a heel in pro wrestling.
Yeah, it just proves that, I guess, the dynamic has changed, that people's minds are changing, and it's not just inside the WWE, but kind of all around. Like, what makes a good wrestler?
Right.
What makes a good pro wrestler versus a good amateur wrestler, or Greco-Roman, or whatever it is? Like, I think there's different classes for everyone, and I think Brock's time in the WWE, for especially the amount of money and the appearances, like, it's gonna come to an end at some point in the relative future. Like I cannot see this going on more than a couple more years, right?
I would fucking hope not.
Yeah.
Like, dude, the absolute worst thing that I can recall in the last few years was the time that Brock had the title and he was not on TV with it.
How would you feel about this? What if
I hate it.
I
I'm
know.
sorry.
Yeah, no. Speculation, of course, always goes to the WrestleMania final Undertaker match with John Cena, right? What if it is Lesnar 2 and Lesnar goes over? And it's Lesnar's last match as well as Taker's.
Fuck that. Like, if for Lesnar's last match, he should go out losing. Like you do for your last match. You go out on your back.
Well, I'm saying that. I'm saying exactly that he should do that. But it would also be Taker's last match, too, because I know.
No, but you said that Lesnar goes over.
I didn't mean that. I meant it the other way around.
You meant Taker goes over?
I meant Taker goes over.
Do we need to see a fourth
I meant Lesnar
match?
puts Taker over, and you know.
But do we need to see that match for a fourth time?
We don't.
I don't have any interest in it.
I'm just wondering, if they want to do something like that because of the shock to the Undertaker's legacy. Like, it would be a last little, it'd almost be a dig at Brock to a degree, but it would also be Brock. Like, if he actually would do it, would actually be Brock, like, sort of saying thank you in a weird way, because he should do.
Brock doesn't give a shit about that.
Yeah, but he'll never do that, though. He'll never, ever do that.
Right.
So it's a
because
silly
he
idea.
Is a terrible human being.
And I'd much rather goddamn see Cena versus Undertaker anyway.
Exactly.
So there's that.
Dude, Undertaker versus Brock has happened 3 times. It's done. It's over. I don't ever want to see it again.
And you're right. You're fair. I just think because of the the streak and the all that stuff that they might.
But the streak's over. They're not. You can't go back and be like, oh, but he beat him here, so the streak is. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like it never happened. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. But it's. I mean, you can definitely. It doesn't hurt though, does it? I mean, you can't deny that.
It does 0 good to anybody.
All right, fair enough. I tell you what is going to do some good to Raw is seeing the Cruiserweight division additions.
Oh, man, just another few short weeks.
That's going to be really cool. They announced a couple of names on Raw of who is like officially signed, I guess. We need to put together a list of those guys that are.
We do. Hey, whoever out there who's good at putting our list together,
you should do that.
Go ahead and just put that together for us.
I know Brian Kendrick's in there. I know he's in there.
Yeah.
But the three ones.
The Brian Kendrick.
There's some other really good guys too. But this week it was announced that Ciampa's coming, which is awesome. And you'll know Ciampa.
Tommaso as well.
Yeah, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. You'll know them from NXT, of course. They're the ones that are doing all the glorious bombs. So that's probably what got them their gig. Oh, other than the fact that they are tremendous fucking professional wrestlers and their match on the CWC was unfucking believable.
Right.
And also Cedric Alexander is coming in, which I liked him too. He wasn't one of my favorites, but I feel like all these guys that they're signing up for this, they're giving contracts to for, I guess, this Cruiserweight division on Raw. They've all been, oh my God, we've already got a really quality little strong division. Especially,
and that's the thing is that's what Raw needs, because that third hour is just tough.
Yeah, and here's the deal too. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, but also what concerns me at that point is you have just loaded SmackDown. Like fucking, or you have loaded Raw to the point that SmackDown is like, how do you fight that?
I think they do that first with Raw to then have some other talent slowly move over to SmackDown. I think they have to build Raw as the flagship show to begin with. They have to make that the stronger one. And I mean, they know that Raw is the stronger show. They know that.
Right.
And they're always going to promote it as such. So at this point
and that's
now,
fine,
you
because
build
it's
Raw
Monday
to the
Night
point.
Raw. Monday Night Raw has been around much longer.
Exactly. And at this point, Raw's going to get to the point where its roster's going to start. I mean, there's so many angles you could take with people, moving from, left to right. It will happen, and it will happen, I guarantee you, sooner rather than later. People are worried about that, but that's only because they are restarting a cruiserweight division. They have such a stronger roster already. Like they're gonna get to that point where they're gonna start having to filter out guys to SmackDown. That's my personal
definitely.
guess. I think.
No, I agree.
I think what they have with the cruiserweight division already is all these guys that they're bringing up from NXT, from outside signings, from indie companies, and all this. They have the ability already on the roster to throw other guys in that mix. So you're going to have your Nevilles, I think, competing in there. I think Neville should be the first CWC champion out of sort of principle, like because it gives him sort of purpose, and he can wrestle every week and challenge people. Like I think that would be a great way to go with it, because he's going to have a lot of great matches with a lot of good guys, and I think he can help bring those guys up to the main roster spot, a guy that's already been there. But you also have, I think there's other people too, like that can easily compete in a cruiserweight division, weight-wise. I don't think Jericho can do it anymore, but
well, no, definitely not. Not if they're setting it at what, 210?
No, it's higher than that now. It's 225, I think, is what the cruiserweight classic is.
Okay.
So yeah.
So 225, but Jericho's at least 250?
He's got to be. But I feel like there's other guys on Raw that might be able to fit into that role. Like Enzo could, right? Xavier probably could. I mean, they might be borderline, but I feel like they could.
I don't know, man. Like, I feel like if you look at the size of those other guys, like both of those dudes are a little bit too thick to be a part of that.
There's some logic to that. I'd have to look at their, build weight and all
that. We really have to look at the stats.
Yeah.
But I feel like besides Neville, I don't really know if there's a whole lot.
You might be right.
So,
what's cool about this too, though, think about this, is, and then maybe this isn't the best idea, but if you have like a development of the cruiserweight division and you've got some really strong stars on there, then you can obviously like bring in the odd jobber up from NXT for a night to wrestle somebody, and then that guy can also be your guy that's in your Braun Strowman squash matches. So
right.
You've got that built in to the whole dynamic.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. I'll be interested to see how it plans out. I don't like the idea of them using any of the cruiserweights as jobbers against Braun Strowman.
No, I guess you're right.
Like, that just takes so much away from them and, like, over-validates him for no reason.
Yeah, I'm talking about the guys that they haven't ever been in a match and like go to the performance center and they get sent straight to Braun to get murdered for.
Who cares? Yeah, like that.
What was it? $2,000? What was the price? What were they getting paid?
I don't remember or care.
I think it was $2,000. That guy said.
Great. Are we going to go through SmackDown?
Yeah, we can go through SmackDown real quick.
I was like, because we've already pretty much gone through like the important parts of Raw. Like, there's absolutely no need to talk about Darren Young and Titus O'Neil ever again.
I think, no. The only thing that we do have to say, or I would like to say about the end of Raw, is that there were "You Deserve It" chants going on as KO held up the belt.
That is the only goddamn chant that those fucking assholes got right.
One thing that I'll say about that all, just to interject before we go to SmackDown, a friend of mine, Taylor, You know who you are. I'm not sure where you got this piece of information. I'm sure it's from a podcast or something, or just directly from his website. But apparently, Vince Russo has been talking shit about Kevin Owens not being over as a champion and will never be over as much. His quote, I believe, was, "He's as over as David Arquette was in WCW."
Really?
He's not as over as David Arquette was in WCW.
That is ludicrous.
That is the most idiotic response I've ever heard. I hope he's being funny, but knowing Russo, he's not.
He's not.
He's not. Yeah, that's a guy that wrote the David Arquette Ready to Rumble angle. So that's all you need right there.
Yeah, exactly. And that is bullshit. Like, dude, you can listen to those crowds chant for Kevin Owens.
Oh, there's a palpable respect. Does that make sense?
A palpable response.
Response. That's it. To him when he comes out and especially when he won, man, like that, the top almost blew off that arena.
Yeah, exactly.
So SmackDown was interesting though, because we did open with kind of like we talked about earlier, that D-Bry Miz altercation, like leading the show. D-Bry saying like he wouldn't be as honest next time on Talking Smack, sort of Shane
telling him that
chastising.
he's like, hey, don't antagonize the fucking talent, would you please?
And then there was some beef, of course, like in between them. Like, oh, that's funny from a guy that's, got issues with Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
So are they leading towards already like a Shane, Daniel Bryan sort of like, I don't know that I want to see that. I guess I don't know.
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Shane and Brock.
No, I don't want to see that. That's a really bad idea if they do that.
Like, who cares? Like,
I don't.
Like, honestly, I don't either.
I really don't.
Like, no shit, Shane is going to get decimated. Like, there's no good outcome in that match. You know what I mean? Like, you can't have... the only way it looks good is if Shane puts up a fight, and if Shane puts up a fight, it kind of just invalidates everybody else that Brock is dismantled.
Correct. If Shane is really that desperate for one more match or something, which there's rumor, I guess, that he is, then I'm not sure who you do it with, but actually have Shane win and put someone in line, like a younger guy or something. Like, do that angle. Don't like...
Yeah, don't just feed him the
Don't
broth.
waste it. Don't waste it.
So,
anyway.
The Adderall Bros as the boss villains. Man, like...
First off, The Miz was great again, though. The Miz was great when he came out to the ring and all that.
The Miz, I want intense Miz all the time.
Dude, give me that because it's working.
Right. Like that, like we were just like, Miz, whatever. But like the last 2 weeks, it's been like, yeah, Miz, keep it up. Like that's your shit. Like be that intense, pissed off heel.
No, it's great. I thought it was great that Dolph came out and sort of like challenged him. They're obviously having a match at Backlash, and then we got Miz. He did sort of just do the chicken shit heel thing and retreated.
Yep.
And even did you catch that he left the belt he was so pissed he threw down the belt on the ramp, and he didn't go pick it up. Which was kind of interesting because you just spent a bit of time talking about how you're the one validating the belt, but okay, whatever.
Right, and whatever, dude, whatever.
Like you said, the Adderall Bros were up. They really love those guys, man. Those hype bros. They're good. I like them. They look fun.
Moving on,
They look
AJ
fun.
and Smiley. I'm blowing through this because
that's fine.
Yeah. AJ versus Smiley.
It was a bit of a
follow-through.
lackluster show. Let's be honest. It wasn't. SmackDown was not the best. It was not as good as Raw again.
We were still on a high from Raw. Well, you can't say again because it's been fairly back and forth with which is the better show. It has not been consistently Raw. Has not been at all.
No, it hasn't. I think the roster is better on Raw, but then there's AJ Styles, and it's just like,
and then there's AJ Styles. And AJ Styles is phenomenal. He did look like a 70s tennis coach.
He did. I loved it. I love how he's being like the biggest douchebag dickhead backstage.
Yep.
He might as well be
Absolutely.
slapping coffees out of people's hands. Just, I am the man. I am
Just being an asshole.
being the best.
I loved the Heath Slater vignettes for about a minute. And
Okay.
then after that, I got real bored with it.
If there's anything that we do need to talk about, it is because we know AJ Styles, was great. We know that he beat Apollo Crews. It was a fine match, I guess.
Yeah, I know.
Whatever.
Like, we don't have to talk about everything,
But
we do
have to talk about the Heath Rhino thing and the trailer park vignette with what was his wife's name?
I don't remember.
It was something really weird too. Like it wasn't a name you hear a lot. It wasn't like Alice or but it was like an old fashioned name. And they really, if you haven't seen it, guys, it might be the only reason to watch this last week's SmackDown other than watching AJ Styles and The Miz, I guess. But you've got
and the Headbangers
and Bray Wyatt. God damn it! Stop it. Just skip the Alexa Bliss shit.
right.
But no, I love the vignette because it's Renee going to their house. Heath's double wide. No, single wide. He's trailer. His single wide. They make that clear, even though it's clearly a double wide.
It's not. It's clearly a double wide.
It's clearly a double wide.
Not a double wide in kayfabe land.
Exactly. And yeah, she was invited in and offered some snacks. Which were, Cheese Whiz and crackers. I think there was some cut up hot dog. I would have eaten those snacks. I would have been fine with that.
Those are the kind of snacks that you offer people most of the time.
That's the way I roll. And Heath's there with his wife, his kayfabe wife, and of course, why wouldn't Rhino just be hanging out at Heath Slater's house?
Right, just hanging out, being really creepy.
Just, good old rapey Rhino.
Rhino.
Munching down on some Cheese Whiz and crackers.
Seriously, it was weird.
While Renee is interviewing Heath and I guess his wife a little bit there. I don't know what. At first, it was A+, Duncan. When you said 20 seconds maybe, and then it went like C- to D real quick. Yeah.
Real quick.
I think it was too long. I think it was a little too Attitude Era-ish. I don't know. Like, that didn't quite work.
It was a little too bad Attitude Era.
Mm-hmm.
Attitude Era.
Yeah, that's some of the stuff that people forget. Like, there was still, a lot of bad. But all the good ones.
There was a lot of bad.
There was a lot of really bad, little bits like that. So, and they did rob us because they didn't show an above ground pool. There were no 2 to 7 kids.
4 to 7 kids.
Yes, I just wanted one of them, like one little Rugrat, like redheaded kid or something with his hair all tousled up, just to run across the room. Didn't even have to say anything.
Yeah.
Just like a little kid, just to run from one side of the camera to the other, just in the background would have been great. They didn't do it.
No.
I do think I like the team of the two of them. I want to see them win this tag team championship.
They're gonna win. They're gonna win.
Now I'm supporting them. I will say that because they're trying so hard. And the only thing that has sold me on it was the match that came later in the night against the Headbangers. Because
why
not?
How to fucking completely random nowhere, the headbangers. Like, what?
16 years not in the WWE. They're all fat and out of shape, and here we go. I guess we're just going to feed you to Rhino and
They're
Heath
still
Slater.
in better shape than you are.
Whatever. But during that match, or as Heath and Rhino came down, there were shots of the audience with the Heath Kids signs. And just like the Cesaro section, there were tons of these little paper signs holding up Heath's kids. And they didn't look. That's not something WWE's handing out, right? You don't think they're?
Yeah, they are.
You think they're handing those out?
I think that. I think the Cesaro section signs people bring on their own. But I think that Heath's kids. No, I think that that's probably. I think that one's probably a plant.
Even if it is, I'm so okay with it that because it made me laugh, and I can easily see that becoming a thing. There's going to be tons of Heath's Kids signs in audiences.
Well, I mean that's how it starts. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And I like it though. I like the fact that He's getting his push.
Again, it's not the first push that he just got.
Why did we have though in this show Gary the Milkman?
I don't know, and I honestly could not possibly care less. Like, that was the dumbest fucking thing I've seen on SmackDown since the brand split.
Yeah, on either brand probably.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that was really dumb. And for Kane to come out, because why? Kane does not need a squash match. Kane does. I mean, and it wasn't even a match.
It wasn't even a match.
And did you catch that Kane was billed from Knoxville, Tennessee now?
I didn't catch that. That's ridiculous because I'm pretty sure he lives in Arizona.
I'm pretty sure he was parts unknown or fucking hell or some shit. But
no.
No, I think he was parts unknown or hell.
I mean, I'm sure that they were that there was something, but you know what I mean. Like, it's who cares anymore? That's the thing. Like, I don't know why they would say that. Like, I don't even know why they would, why they gave an introduction at all. Does anybody need to fucking know who Kane? Everybody knows who Kane is. Was it on the little side scroll thing? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it was on the little facts, on the side scroll thing.
So then it's just somebody being stupid.
Yeah.
And it's Kevin Dunn not paying attention.
God damn it, Kevin Dunn. He did do a good job though with the Bray Wyatt promo. I liked the Bray Wyatt promo really until Randy Orton came out, and then I got bored.
Well,
yeah. At least, I think it'll be a decent match. I just have this overwhelming fear that Bray's gonna lose, and Bray always loses. And
I was gonna say Bray always loses. Why wouldn't he lose?
Bray needs to stop losing so much because it's pissing me off, and it's not good for his character long term. And then it was funny, how they completely Randy was gonna go attack him, and it was like, oh, and coming up next, blah, 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 blah. You know, we got a women's tag team match, and here we're going to break. They didn't show any of the altercation. It was just okay. So
and here we are.
Bray teleported again. Good job.
I like it when Bray teleports.
He does that. He's got a habit of doing this teleportation.
He's magic. I keep telling you.
He's magic. I tell you what wasn't magic, and that was the final match of the night. I liked AJ Styles on the commentary for Dean Ambrose versus Baron Corbin.
Baron Corbin?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
You see, it didn't really work for a match. The French stylings of Corbin did not meld well.
Did not work against
with the Dean Ambrose. And the Corbins very, very selfish ways got in front of him. It was a really shitty match, though, huh?
Dude, it was. Like, I was highly disappointed. Like, they never clicked.
I told you, I've come around a good bit on Dean Ambrose, but I think Dean Ambrose can only be good when he's really with somebody good. And he's not very good at making other people look good. And this was this was kind of one of those cases. Like he's not very good at making guys that are less experienced than him look good. And I think you've said it, I think, from the beginning that Ambrose is kind of a temporary or intermediary champ.
Intermediary.
If that's a word.
Interim champion.
Yeah. And I think
placeholder. He's a placeholder. That's what he is. So, they have the belt on somebody.
Well, no.
But the crowd likes.
That they do. And for good reason. Because Dean's done some great promos. I think he's grown his character. I don't think he's bad in the ring. But I think in a long-term champion, you need somebody that can make anybody that goes against him look good.
Yes.
And
like the phenomenal AJ Styles.
The phenomenal AJ Styles, who, of course, got involved in the match. And the ending was kind of silly with,
him riding the fucking rope.
Yeah. Kind of like...
That was dumb.
Well, he was going for a phenomenal forearm, right? On Ambrose after the match or the bell had already been rung by the referee. By the way, Baron Corbin technically beat Dean Ambrose. If you want to, call it that, because it was a DQ on Ambrose, because Corbin got hit with AJ's kick, and AJ's going up for his phenomenal forearm, goes for it against Ambrose, and Ambrose knocks the rope. Oh, straddling the top rope now,
and just
staying there like a cartoon. Like that camera should have cut about a minute earlier.
Right, like exactly. It made it too cartoonish. It made it like it lost the emphasis.
Like Dean should have done like the whole shaking of the rope thing, like right after it happened, and that would have been the big like end, and then like AJ could have fallen and done.
Yep.
But and I guess he wanted him to hang there because he wanted to do that. He like did that handshake thing.
Yeah,
he wanted to do like a smooth, like I don't know. I didn't like it though.
Wasn't that still stupid?
Yeah, no, still stupid, and I'm mad. Just like I'm mad about Eva Marie dyeing her hair black because I love her.
Because you love it to be all red everything.
All day, every day. What?
Fucking Eva Marie,
buddy. I think that's good. We need to have like a final thoughts or something, or
Okay, here's my final thought. If we do split segments, the show turns into 2 hours.
No, it won't be. It'll be a little long. It'll be about 90 minutes long, but I don't think it's going to be 2 hours.
No, it might not be. But still, like 90 minutes is. Are we trying to do a 90-minute show?
We're not trying to do anything. It just happened to be that this one was 90 minutes. We'll give the people what we can give them, and I know this one is long, but what the fuck do you want?
I feel like the worst part about SmackDown is just like they have this bipolar tendency, right? So they're like high week, low week, high week, low week. Raw is kind of like fluctuates a little bit, but it's not nearly as dramatic. I feel like they need to really kind of like rein that in a little bit, try and get them not quite as up and down, a little bit more in the middle.
No, you're probably right. I don't know that they ever want SmackDown to be as good. I'm pretty convinced that they don't.
Yeah, but dude, that's like, okay, setting aside the fact that is stupid, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want SmackDown to be the more like soap opera-y show, you know what I mean? Which is kind of how they're spinning it.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I never really thought of it in that context, but there's definitely more of that. It's going in a new direction that.
And I'm fine with riding it out, but like I just.
It runs the risk of doing what SmackDown had done before the draft and being like kind of the one
an unimportant
show, which would be a real shame. Like you can't rely just on the quality of the few great wrestlers there for people to tune in. Like we want to see AJ Styles and John Cena and all these guys, but there are a lot of people that. If they just tuned into Raw once every couple of weeks, and they catch an episode of Raw and they can enjoy it, just because John Cena doesn't show up, doesn't like rock the world. Oh, that just happened to be an episode of John Cena that he didn't show up. Well, they don't even know that he's not fucking on SmackDown, and you know what I mean. Like it doesn't. I don't think in the grand scheme of things it matters that much as long as they're getting enough views in their realm to kind of like push their brand forward. Like I think,
and that's like I'm not, dude. I think you're misunderstanding me, and like you keep saying, like better show. Like I don't think that there's, like I don't think that that's even an issue. The issue is SmackDown had 5 matches. You know what I mean? Like that's the issue.
There's only so much you can do in 2 hours, which a lot of people would say that Raw needs to be 2 hours, but you can never do that now.
Well, no, you can't. You definitely can't. But it's also that, like, why are you... I don't know, man. Like, the Alexa and Natalya and Naomi Becky match was stupid. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you're right.
The match was dumb. The finish was dumb. Like, it was a waste of time. You know what I mean? That would have been more effective had it been a WWE online exclusive.
No,
or some shit.
No, there's ways you do that. I mean, because there's no build for any of the women's matches on SmackDown. There's no reason really for anybody to be feuding other than maybe Becky and Natty.
Well, right, but like you're supposed to be establishing these women fighting for a new championship. I don't know. It was a pretty weak SmackDown overall, But
a good week in wrestling.
SmackDown last week, so.
But a good week in wrestling overall because we got a new Universal Champion, and I have a tendency to think that this is going to last longer than a lot of other people think it will. I think Kevin Owens was the right choice. I'm glad they made it. And on that, I'm gonna leave with some of his music, Duncan. What do you think of that?
I love it.
Yeah, just in honor of our friend Kevin Owens, I think it's only appropriate.
He is our friend too, by the way.
Oh, is he?
I guess. I don't know. He might as well be.
I mean, we'll friend him on Twitter.
I'm pretty sure I already do.
It's been a pleasure, buddy. I know this went a little bit longer than we anticipated, but it's fine. I think people will enjoy it, as we definitely did a little bit more than just recap. And if they get bored with the recap, at least that's at the end. They can go fuck themselves.
Very true.
We will see you next week. You can drink it in then. And as always, this has been Ono Wrestling. Have a good week. See you next Wednesday.
Fuck it.